you become a victim of tax-related identity fraud, LifeLock has U.S.-based restoration specialists ready to help solve your identity theft issue. Plus, all LifeLock plans are backed by the $1 Million Protection Package, meaning LifeLock will reimburse you up to the limits of your plan if you lose money due to identity theft. Let LifeLock help protect your financial info, so all you have to worry about is what you do with your tax refund. Go to LifeLock.com, save up to 25% off your first year. The promo code is HERD, promo code HERD, to save up to 25% off your first year. LifeLock.com. Identity theft protection starts here.
The buzzer has sounded. We are headed to overtime with William Pattison on Fox Sports Knoxville. This is Fan Run Radio.
And here we go, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's overtime, presented by VIP Play on a William Wednesday from K-Town. We appreciate you listening along with us, however you may be doing it. Big day here at Fan Run Radio as we welcome Tony Basilio to the Fan Run crew. He'll be joining on Monday with the Tony Basilio Show from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. right here on Fan Run Radio, Fox Sports Knoxville. Really, really exciting news, and a great job by everyone involved to get out the press release today, to get the announcement going, and so happy to have Tony join us, bringing 30 years of experience in the Knoxville radio scene over. A big-time addition to the Fan Run family, and we are continuing to grow over here. One of the fastest-growing sports radio stations in East Tennessee, and again, just such a great job all the way around. Really happy to have Tony on next week. But we've got plenty to cover here on OT today. As a little bit later on, we'll talk about the notable cuts in the NFL, as we were going to get to that yesterday, but then we had the lights cut off on us as the power went out. But hopefully today, knock on wood, we'll be on for 2 hours straight, no issues. But we'll dive into those notable cuts made in the NFL. A really tough day for a lot of players and a lot of families, but we'll dive into which teams and which players we believe might find a couple of new members with these cuts. Before that, we'll take a look at what is going to be a loaded Week 1 slate of college football. Some big-time ranked-on-ranked matchups, some big-time Power 4 matchups. There's so much this weekend to dive into, and we'll try our best to get to all of it in just one segment. Before that, we'll have our Underdog Money Dogs. Yes, folks, they return, and if you've been listening to Overtime over the last 2 years, you remember these Underdog Money Dogs. Teams that are plus 250 or more. We track it, and we place just a magical bet. We're not actually placing the bet. You could if you wanted to at home, as we have had a lot of success, some positive records, some positive units. But we'll do our Underdog Money Dogs presented by VIP Play, and we'll also take a look at what Josh Heupel had to say during the SEC coaches teleconference earlier today when talking about this Syracuse matchup. Before we get to our first things first topic, we'll send it over to Tyler. Tyler, how are you on this William Wednesday?
I'm good, man. Feel good. Getting closer and closer to game day. It's always a good feeling. Energy felt different, and that's in a good way when I walked in here earlier today. So vibes are good, and we're getting closer to kickoff, and that's always a good thing. So I'm feeling good and ready to talk about some sports with you all.
All right, good stuff. Allie, how are you?
I am amazing. Fantastic weather today.
Yes.
All around great vibes.
It's football season.
Can't complain. Yeah, it feels like football season. We're back.
And also, I forgot to mention, yesterday we were going to talk about it during our final thoughts. I put it once again on today's rundown. We will get to talk about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. Allie was very excited to talk about that yesterday. And again, as we got cut off when we were on the air, we did not get the opportunity to talk about it. So, Allie, you will have your chance to tell everyone
Thank you so much.
about Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. All right, let's get right into it with our first things first topic, and it is Know Your Foe. As the Tennessee Volunteers are just a few days out from kicking off their 2025 season in Atlanta, Georgia, against the Syracuse Orange. This game will consist of two teams that aren't very familiar with one another, with the last matchup being in 2001 and only 3 total matchups all time between the two. So with that said, we're going to kind of break down a couple of players to watch in this Syracuse matchup, as there are a lot of new players for the Orange. Lost a lot of guys last offseason. There are a couple of really key contributors that you need to know before watching Saturday's broadcast. And we'll begin with wide receiver Daryl Gill Jr. And he was a productive wideout for the Orange last season, despite Jackson Meeks going for 1,000 yards and Trevor Penna knocking on the door of the century mark as well. Gill Jr. posted 31 receptions for 570 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he also averaged 18.4 yards per reception. An explosive playmaker that Tennessee will need to be mindful of heading into Saturday's matchup. And 18.4 yards per reception is no joke. I mean, we saw guys like Dante Thornton last year who averaged 25 yards a reception. That was the leader in the country in terms of yards per reception. And Gill Jr. just a little bit down the way, about 7 yards away from that at 18.4. And when you look at this matchup, Tennessee is going to be a little bit shorthanded in the secondary. As we know, Jermon McCoy is kind of a looming issue for Tennessee. We don't know exactly when he's going to return. Back when he first had that injury in January of this year, we were told that he anticipates to be back for the kickoff. Now we know that we might not see him until Georgia, or really, I think, until the middle of the season, kind of more so going into that Alabama game, as this is a guy that's a top 10 prospect, top 15 prospect in the NFL draft. Doesn't necessarily need to rush out there if he's not 100%, and I totally get that. But you are going to have a little bit of a kind of plug-and-play situation for Tennessee, at least early on, as you have had some guys that have been really impressive in training camp, and we talked about those impressive surprises last week. Guys like Ty Redmond, a true freshman cornerback, Jalen McMurray, a veteran who's played plenty of college football, 40-plus games in his career. He's done really well at Star, but we do know that Boo Carter is going to play, so it's going to be interesting to see where everything shakes out. But Gill Jr. is the type of guy that can get some big-time plays for Syracuse and move down the field, and if you're not 100% at your positions, it could be an issue. So there's a little bit of a challenge there, I believe, for Tennessee, especially knowing that there's going to be some interior depth issues with a David Hobbs being out with a foot injury. You're going to be starting a couple of blue-chip freshmen inside, so you might not be able to get that early pass rush that you expect. And as the game wears on, it could be absent in those later portions of the game as well. So you might not be able to get to the quarterback, which means Steve Angeli could have the opportunity to hit Gill on a couple of big plays. And for a guy that's coming off a season where he averaged 18.4 yards per reception, that's a guy that you've got to key in on, and all volunteers should have an eye on Daryl Gill Jr. Saturday. Allie, do you believe that Gill Jr. will pose a challenge for this shorthanded secondary?
It's definitely a possibility. I do feel confident in the people that have stepped up in the absence of Jermon McCoy. Like you said, second-year transfer Jalen McMurray has been a huge standout. He played in the nickel position at Temple and now is expected to start at Star, but he's assumed a lot of responsibility for the team. He's experienced a lot of versatility since Jermod left. Also, Caleb Beasley has been stepping up quite a bit. Other guys like Colorado transfer Colton Hood and true freshman Ty Redmond have also made a name for themselves so far in this preseason. So I am confident in this group. It's just a matter of if they're able to put it all together for game one, as this is a lot of their first time in this defense altogether. I am expecting there to be some stumbles and some slip-ups at first, but I think that hopefully they'll be able to get it all together.
Yeah, Tyler.
I'm right with you, Allie. I think week one, it's always the hardest week because you don't know what you have, but this Tennessee defensive back unit, secondary unit, I feel like it's deeper in years prior. Colton Hood is a name that you dropped, transfer from Colorado. He's really impressed. Ty Redmond. I mean, there are a lot of players that can step up, not even to mention Ricky Gibson. That guy could be one of the best cornerback twos in the SEC. So the Vols, they have all of the depth and plans in place to fill in Jermon McCoy's absence, but with Darryl Gill Jr., this is a guy that had 335 receiving yards in his final 3 games of the regular season. Now, one of those came against UConn, where, that was half of his yards. He got 185 yards on 9 receptions in that game against UConn. But against Washington State in the final game of the regular season, 4 catches for 145 yards with a long of 50. So this is a guy that, can really, really space out this Tennessee defense, and you always have to keep an eye on him. Safeties, they got to play a little bit further back because of the threat that Darryl Gill provides over top. So we'll see how the Steve Angeli-Darryl Gill connection looks, but I know a lot of Syracuse fans have a lot of hope for this connection. But I think the Tennessee Vols and their stout secondary, especially with the transfers and the freshmen and the returners that are in place, they will be able to hold up just fine in this one.
We'll switch over to the defensive side of the ball now for the Orange, as Fran Brown has a history of coaching on the defensive side of the ball, was a defensive backs coach at Georgia before heading over to Syracuse. And Deuce Chestnut, a really good defensive back for the Orange. He played in 13 games and started 11 for Syracuse last season at safety, and he racked up 62 tackles, 3.5 tackles for loss, a sack, and a forced fumble, and 5 pass breakups. He's projected to be the starting strong safety for the Orange this season, and he started off his career at Syracuse, then transferred to LSU, and then transferred back to Syracuse, and has had a lot of success and had his best season last year. So he's coming into this season with a lot of momentum. And this could be a possible piece that poses an issue for Joey Aguilar starting in his first game with the Big Orange for Tennessee. And with a guy like Chestnut, this is a guy that's all over the field. At that safety position, you can put him on blitzes. You can put him in one-on-one coverage. You can put him in coverage. This is a guy that can do a lot of different things. And Joey Aguilar is going to have to watch film from last season, kind of read what this guy wants to do, because as he's already proven, he can be a very sneaky player, and not in terms of sneaky like he's going in under the radar. He's sneaky in the way that he can make plays without you really anticipating that. So I look at Chestnut as a guy that has been in this Fran Brown system, has continued to learn from him, and Brown being a defensive-minded guy, I think it's done wonders for Chestnut, and last year was an example of that. And those are the type of players that Aguilar has to be mindful of when he's going down the field and looking down the field, because as we know, and it's been well documented by all Tennessee fans, Joey Aguilar had a bit of an interception issue last year at 14, which was more than he had in the previous year, his junior season with the Mountaineers at Appalachian State, which was a really strong year. Last year took a little bit of a decline. Interception's a big reason why. And the biggest thing was throwing into tight windows, throwing into double coverage, forcing footballs in bad areas. And Chestnut's the type of player that can capitalize on those mistakes. So Aguilar's got to be wary of that and make sure that he knows where not Joey Chestnut.
I knew you were going to slip up eventually.
Deuce Chestnut is on the field, as he's a really big player. Allie, a new quarterback and Joey Aguilar now having to kind of look down the field, know where these guys are. How big of a deal is Chestnut in posing a possible threat to Aguilar?
Yeah, this is definitely a huge threat. Of course, it's helpful that he's had a little bit of time to, work with the first team defensive guys for Tennessee that are also very strong. But this is definitely a good start to face a defense that has a taste of that Georgia defensive mindset before they actually go face the Georgia Bulldogs and the real full thing. A little bit more of a huge, talented defensive group at Georgia. So it's important to have this step at least get a taste of what that could maybe look like with Fran Brown's touch on it. But this will definitely be a challenge for him, just relying on our offensive line, guys like Lance Hurd, Sam Pendleton, William Satterwhite. All of those guys hopefully will be able to protect him enough and give him enough time in the pocket to figure out where Will Chestnut is.
Yeah, regardless of who's lurking back there at the safety position for any team, you always have to locate them, watch their eyes, and Chestnut's going to watch Joey's eyes, and Joey's going to watch Chestnut's eyes. You see what I did there? Pretty funny. Joey's going to watch Chestnut's eyes. Chestnut's going to watch... Anyways.
Joey Chestnut?
Yes. Like, that was what I was referring to. Like,
So many possible jokes with the Joey
Deuce
Oh,
Chestnut was going to watch Joey Aguilar's eyes, and Joey Aguilar was going to. So I said, yeah.
Okay.
Anyways, you you got to locate number 2 for the Orange in this matchup. He is a playmaker, a guy who has 6 interceptions in his 4-year career. However, the fact that, he transferred to LSU after posting a very, very solid freshman and sophomore season, went there in 2023, didn't get a lot of playing time, kind of had a hard time staying on the field and getting playing time, comes back to Syracuse, kind of, gives me a little bit of an indication that maybe Deuce Chestnut can't hang at that SEC level. Not, sneak dissing, because it seems like this guy has had a very solid career, but you transfer to an SEC school to, get your name out there more. Couldn't hang, and now he's back to square one right where he started. So he could either make a massive impact in this game, or you might not even hear his name once. So we'll see what type of version Deuce Chestnut is as a player in 2025-26. But once again, I'm very confident in Joey Aguilar and his ability to keep the ball out of harm's way, especially Chestnut, a guy with 6 career interceptions. Don't really want to throw in that guy's area. Again, He has a knack for coming down with the football.
Another defensive back worth noting is Chris Peel, who started his career at the University of Georgia, where Fran Brown recruited him when he was the defensive backs coach for the Bulldogs. Peel was a 4-star recruit coming out of high school and was a top 200 player in the country, according to the composite rankings. And look, he hasn't seen the field much at this point in his career, but it's worth noting that Coach Brown has an has an SEC caliber player on his starting lineup. And Georgia doesn't recruit anyone, folks. They recruit the top of the top, the best of the best. And Peel was one of those guys that was committed to Georgia, went to Georgia, and then decided to come over with his coach to Syracuse. And this is a guy that has been in this system, has had the opportunity to grow and learn and develop. And now this is a possible breakout season for him. So 2 defensive backs to look for. And with Fran Brown's experience in the SEC as a defensive-minded coach, specifically in the defensive backfield, could Syracuse's group surprise the Vols? I think is something to think about. And I think it all comes down to if Joey Aguilar is able to follow the script. As we know, Josh Heupel's system, while some may refer to it as a high school system, is very structured. There's a blueprint that's rolled out in front of you, and you've got to follow the reads. Check 1, check 2, check 3, not there. You've got to check down. If that's not there, you run. It's very scripted. It's very structured, which is good for a new quarterback coming into this system with a lot of experience. But knowing that Fran Brown is a defensive-minded coach, a defensive back-specific coach, there's going to be a point of emphasis on trying to rattle a new quarterback. So I think as long as Joey's able to stay on script and is able to deliver the football in an efficient way and not putting it into harm's way, I don't think we'll have to really hear about the defensive backs for Syracuse very often. But if Aguilar reverts back to what he looked like at times at Appalachian State, where it's a 3rd and 8 and he's rolling out of the pocket, trying to do anything and everything to extend the play and throws it into double coverage or throws it into harm's way, those are the type of plays that Syracuse can feast on. So it's all about being smart mentally, reading the defense, and making the right reads and progressions. That's what it comes down to for me, going up against a well-coached Fran Brown team, specifically in the defensive back room. Allie, would you agree with that?
Yes, I think that this game will definitely challenge Tennessee. It's not something that we should write off by any means. Like an Arkansas game last year,
Sure.
This could surprise the Vols for sure. But it's just taking it one play at a time, making sure that this group is able to gel and take what they learned in the preseason to actually put into effect in this game. So I think taking it one play at a time is huge for this.
Yeah, that's really the only way that you can do it, I feel like, especially in week 1 when you are 14-point favorites. Every possession, every snap matters even more for Syracuse than it does for us, but you got to be that team that wants it more. And at the end of the day, it'll be evident on, your TV screen, or if you're at the game, you'll be able to tell which team wants it more early. And for Fran Brown's guys, he has enough players that have played in the ACC, have played in the Big Ten, have played in the SEC, have a lot of experience playing football at a very high level. These guys are going to come out and compete. It's a matter of whether or not Tennessee is going to, hit him with the right hook back. And all right, before you know it, Tennessee has a nice 14, 17-point lead going into half, and then that's when you put them away. So hopefully that's how this game is going to go, but never underestimate your opponent. I was actually talking to my dad earlier about, I was wondering if I should go down to Atlanta for the game. A lot of my buddies are going. But I plan on going to Alabama and Kentucky and Florida. So I was like, yeah, I kind of want to save money, but it'll be fun. Haven't been to Atlanta before, so maybe I'll go down there and check it out. Haven't been, Allie.
Good place.
Yeah, so I've heard from you. But he was like, Tyler, in this game, it can only upset you. There's no upside with this game. Because if you win by 50 points or 20 points or 14 points, you expect that out of this Tennessee team. Whereas if it's a closer game, Joey Aguilar doesn't look comfortable. The defense is getting ripped to shreds. Jermod McCoy's absence is very, very evident. Then that's when it's like, all right, well, did I really have to spend $300, $400 on this whole weekend going down there? So that's kind of how I'm thinking of it. But at the end of the day, Tennessee is a better team than Syracuse. And if they are, they're going to prove that on Saturday.
Well, on that topic you just brought up real quick, I'll give a little bit of a response in a positive way, because I believe the experience of traveling to all these games is very much worth it. I went to every game last year and went all across the country, and all these games, and it's a great experience. And if you go into it with the mindset of, well, if we lose, it wasn't worth it, or if we don't play like this, it wasn't worth it. I think that's a bad mentality, because every time you drive a car, right, you could possibly get in a wreck.
Sure.
But that doesn't mean you don't get in the car and drive, right?
Sure,
There's always a bad outcome that could happen.
Okay.
When we went to Ohio State, it was either we're going to drive all the way up here, spend all the money, buy the hotel, buy the drinks in the bar the night before, do all of that, and we could possibly lose the next day. Or, we still go up there and experience it and have fun. It was freezing cold. It was 13 degrees. I hated it. But I was like, I still enjoy coming up there. It's still a good, obviously not a great memory, but I'm glad I went. I'd rethink. I'd go to Atlanta if I were you.
You want to know what it is, though? I went to Charlotte last year for the NC State game, and that was fun. Much fun. I had a very, very good time. Charlotte is a dope city, by the way.
It is dope.
Dope city.
It is dope.
It is dope. I feel like it's great. No, it's dope. But for me, going to these away games as a senior here, I'd kind of rather go to the SEC home games, or the SEC away games, rather than a neutral location, because I could always go to Mercedes-Benz Stadium and hang out in Atlanta, catch a Falcons game if I wanted to. But how often can I say my senior year of high school, I went to Bryant-Denny Stadium in Alabama in a RV or a trailer with a bunch of my buddies, and we ended up winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I totally agree.
Yeah, but we'll see what happens if I do end up going. Got to find a place to stay. So if anyone wants to house Tyler Barbaras over the weekend, send me your
15 girls occupying my home. Well,
15 girls and Tyler. We just figured it out. Boom. There we go.
Need a background check first, but if you're willing to let me into your home,
on me.
No, not on Allie. Not on Allie. On if a random stranger wants to house me for the weekend.
They'll do a background check on you.
Yeah,
on me.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So tell your 15 friends to start doing a background check. There you go.
We'll
Boom.
be researching.
You're going to Atlanta. It's a good city. I do like it.
All right.
You should go. All right, we'll switch over to the quarterback for Syracuse, and that's Steve Angeli. We talked about him earlier in the week, but I did want to mention him again as he is an impact player in this matchup. If you lived under a rock, haven't heard the news, Syracuse named Notre Dame transfer Steve Angeli as its starting quarterback last Monday, and he beat out LSU transfer Ricky Collins. Angeli appeared in 21 games over the last 3 seasons at Notre Dame, throwing for 772 yards, 10 touchdowns, and 1 interception. And he completed 72.5% of his passes, going 58 for 80. And many people know him from the Orange Bowl last year against Penn State, where he was really, really impressive. And what I expect from him is I think he's going to be the mature, focused quarterback. He's got a ton of experience. He's got a ton of experience in practice and kind of the development of being the older player. Like when you look in college basketball, right? A lot of these teams that advance in the tournament are older players. They're more experienced. They're more grown up. I look at that for a Steve Angeli. Not so much the experience of in the game, because he hasn't played a ton. And I get it. Everyone loved that moment in the Orange Bowl. I did too. I bet on Notre Dame. I loved it. But that was one drive, and Penn State was focused on a running quarterback. And when Angeli came in as a pocket passer, they weren't really anticipating that. So I don't really look at that game and say that's the version they're going to get. I expect Angeli to be a mature quarterback. I don't think he's going to make a ton of mistakes. This is going to be a tough Tennessee defense he's going up against. So there could be a couple times he throws it into harm's way. But I think he'll be composed and the moment won't be too big for him. So that's what I expect. In terms of the numbers, I think it's too hard to give a firm read right now because of everything that Syracuse loses from last year at receiver and playmakers, and also Angeli just not having a ton of tape in games. But I do think he'll be composed. I do think he'll be mature, and that could result in a solid outing, which is kind of similar to what I anticipate for Joey Aguilar. I just kind of composed, nothing big. Like he's not going for 400 yards, but just a solid outing, and he's not going to be the reason they lose. I think it'll be more so the Syracuse defense that will be an issue in this one. And the Tennessee defensive front and kind of those front two levels cause issues, putting Steve Angeli in tough situations, might not even have the opportunity to get the ball out. But that's why I expect from Angeli just a focused, composed game from him as the experienced kind of adult in the locker room. Real quick, guys, a couple minutes before the break, what do you expect from Angeli, Allie? And then we'll swing it over to Tyler.
I expect to see him be a leader out there. I expect him to do what they're wanting him to. Fran Brown has said a bunch of incredible things about him, saying that he's always been ready to lead a team. He's been ready to go ever since he was at Notre Dame, and even before then, he's all about winning. I think that this could rattle him a little bit. He hasn't really had much experience starting except for maybe a bowl game. So I think that this will challenge him, and it'll challenge Joey as well. But something that I did want to say is that he didn't have as much experience starting as Joey did, but he didn't have a single interception last year and saw action in 11 games. So that is something to note as well.
Yeah, Tyler?
I expect him to look like a deer in headlights early on.
Wow.
I think he'll get better as the game progresses, but this is a really tough spot for a player, a quarterback with no starts. He just has a little bit of, game action coming in late in games, or if an injury were to go down, he'd come in, but he was never prepped as the quarterback one during, the week practices leading up to the big game. He was always running with the second, third unit. Now, will he be able to translate into that quarterback one that runs with the first unit? That is watching film in the middle of his 318 biochem class. This is where I think Steve Angeli is going to have a hard time making the transition, because it's great when a head coach in Fran Brown instills his trust in you. That makes you feel great as a quarterback and even better as a person. But when push comes to shove and you're lining up against the Tennessee Vols defensive line with an offensive line that isn't necessarily the strongest, probably a middle tier to lower offensive line in the ACC, it's going to be tough. And if the game can't come to you quickly, and if you can't process and go through your reads and your progressions early on, it's going to be a really, really rough game for Steve Angeli. However, I like the talent. I like the skill. I like his poise. I think that he'll get better as the game goes on, but I think early on in the first couple drives for Syracuse, you're going to see Steve Angeli struggle, and hopefully the Tennessee offense and Joey Aguilar can do their thing to where Tennessee has a controllable lead after that first quarter.
All right, good stuff. When we come back on the other side, we'll tell you what Josh Heupel had to say earlier today on the SEC teleconference when asked about the Syracuse matchup and a couple of important players on this Tennessee roster. Stay right here. It's Overtime, presented by VIP Play on Fan Run Radio.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, She wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Gotcha, Mike. It's nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit menspronknoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Got a flat tire? Strange noise under the hood? Don't stress. Roll into Matlock Tire and Auto Service. From oil changes and brake repairs to brand new tires, Matlock's certified techs do it all. Fast, friendly, and fair priced, Matlock is the home of the price match guarantee. Bring in any competitor's ad and Matlock will match the exact same tire for the exact same price. Matlock Tire and Auto Service. 5 locations in East Tennessee. Visit matlocktireservice.com to find the location nearest you and schedule your appointment.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine, live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-8899-789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
Are you looking for a treat that will knock it out of the park at the next watch party? Just like your favorite baseball team, Crumble brings the best lineup week to week with an expanded roster that includes key lime pie, strawberry cake, or my personal favorite, Monster featuring M&M candies. Let Crumble treat you to the best cookies in the game. Download the Crumble app and start earning rewards. You can even vote monthly on what flavors you would like to see at any store of your choice. Warmer weather is here, so get to the ballpark, but don't miss the cookies.
Ready to launch your career? Axle Logistics is a leading third-party logistics company where excellence is an energy. With an award-winning culture, Axle proves that positive outcomes come from a positive environment and a work hard, play hard mentality. At Axle, the drive for success is infectious. And with an uncapped commission structure, hard work isn't just noticed, it's rewarded. For those with big goals and even bigger dreams, Axle Logistics is the place to start your career.
Me and my niggas trying to get it, you bitch. All right, back here on Overtime, presented by VIP Play. Whether you're listening on the free Fan Run Radio app, 105.7 FM or 1340 AM here in K-Town on the local dial, or watching on the YouTube/X live stream, how you're doing however you're watching or listening, we do appreciate your time. There we go. We'll switch over now to Josh Heupel on the mic and everything Tennessee football coach Josh Heupel had to say today during his appearance on the SEC coaches teleconference, previewing the season opener against Syracuse, and kickoff is Saturday at noon Eastern time on ABC, and the Aflac kickoff game at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. And we'll begin with what Heupel had to say about his contract extension that he did sign yesterday, saying, quote, "We have dynamic leadership from president to chancellor to athletic director. They've given us in this program an opportunity to grow, given us the tools and resources that we need. And we've built a team inside of that team room or locker room that I love being around. And to me, this is college football as good as it gets. Excited about who we have in the building as far as our staff, and excited about the future here at Tennessee." And like always, Josh Heupel gives a scripted answer about the extension, or really a scripted answer about anything. But what I make of these comments is that he's echoing the same trust and same we'll just say trust. The same trust that the athletic department has in Josh Heupel, the same trust that everyone above and Coach Heupel to get things done. And again, going back to when Heupel first arrived here at Tennessee, this was a program that was not on a good path. You know, you had the violations in recruiting with McDonald's bags, and you had 6-6 seasons, 5-7 seasons, Belk Bowls, Music City Bowls, all the above. And quickly things have changed to now where there's an expectation for Tennessee to be one of the top teams in the country year in and year out. And that is the same expectation that was set many, many years ago and has now been reestablished. So I think he's just echoing the same amount of trust and the same amount of insurance that the people above have in him, and that many Tennessee fans feel the same way about. So, a good statement today, obviously kind of a little bit scripted like it always is, but I think he's echoing the same trust.
To say that he is, clearly media trained, but I do agree with everything he said. I mean, Danny White has done such incredible things for this program, for all of Tennessee athletics. Same with Dondi Plowman, the chancellor. And I think it's nice that he's, sharing the love with everyone and not just talking about what he's done for the program. But yes, bigger, better things for Tennessee. Excited that he's getting an extended contract. And
we'll look at the YouTube chat real quick, and this one made me smile. Patrick says, Heupel's pressers are nonsense. And Patrick, I would agree. That's a pretty good way to put it. Always a little bit, what's the word for it? Yeah, coach speaky. I don't even know if that's a word, but we'll make it one for Josh Heupel. But
definitely not a word, but I like it.
Yeah, the coach speaky. They are nonsense, Patrick. We appreciate you listening. Tyler, what do you make of it?
Yeah, similar to, how Fran Brown entrusted Steve Angeli with being his quarterback. Seems like this football program has full faith in Josh Heupel to be their guy. Tennessee football has only been trending up ever since Heupel. And hell, when I got here in 2022, I was like, can it get better than this? I really don't see a world where we're a better team than that 2022 team. But it's like now the recruiting class is much stronger. 2026 looks really, really good. And this is just a great era for Tennessee football. And now you have your head coach locked up who has only taken this program up. That's only a good thing, in my opinion.
Yeah, most definitely. Heupel has put the wheels on the track for this Tennessee team, and there has been a mountain of success ever since. We'll now switch over to what Heupel had to say about the defensive depth in comparison to last season. He said, quote, I believe we have really good depth inside of our roster. On the defensive side of the ball, we lost some dynamic players, but we return a lot of guys that have played a lot of football as well as with the ability. The way that we've been able to rotate here, in particular last year, and so a lot of experience. And our young guys have all the traits and have done a really good job growing. I think that's one of the things that was striking where we finished spring ball to where when we opened up training camp, the growth that we saw from our young players and our entire program, but on the defensive side of the ball as well. And I think Heupel's new favorite word this offseason has become growth because he says this about every other sentence. But while there may have been a lot of growth this offseason by the defense, there are still a lot of young players on this team, and they're going to have to step up on Saturday. And the defensive interior specifically, as David Hobbs is not going to be available with a foot injury, which means blue chip prospects Ethan Utley and Isaiah Campbell are going to have to fill those roles. And I think there's a little bit of a concern there because these guys are 18, 19 years old. They're getting their first dose of college football on a big stage in a Power Four conference game. A matchup between two Power Four conference teams, I should say. And I think that could be a worry on Saturday, especially if Syracuse is able to run the ball down the middle successfully early. Then you're putting a lot of pressure on your second level of the defense, guys like Arian Carter and Jeremiah Thielander at that linebacker position. So we'll see if it proves to be a big deal on Saturday, but I am a tad bit concerned having some really young guys going up against some physical Power Forward level experienced Syracuse offensive linemen. Do you guys say that or share that same worry or concern heading into Saturday?
Well, they also return a few veterans in Jackson Moy and Bryson Eason and Dominic Bailey that are hopeful for this group. And you've heard a lot of great things about Ethan Utley, specifically Isaiah Campbell, as you mentioned, is expected to do a lot for this team. There's always going to be concern and question marks when it comes with a younger group, but I think that having those few veterans will help lead these guys.
Yeah. Tyler?
Yeah, I'm right there with Allie. I think this Tennessee team, over the past couple of years, they've recruited very, very well, and now is the year for, those 4 stars, those 5 stars to really step up and become a staple of this defense. One guy, in my opinion, that needs to take a jump is David Hobbs, former 5-star interior defensive lineman. You have to fill that hole that, or Omar Norman Lott is leaving you with. And David Hobbs is kind of the next man up. He's a player that I really want to step up. Aaron Carter, another player. Max Pennell wasn't too high on him, but I am. I think Carter's going to have a really, really good year. A lot of moving pieces with this Tennessee defense. However, I do think, once they settle in and once it's all said and done, this defensive unit could ultimately be better than the defense from last season.
Yeah, David Hobbs will be out for the first couple of weeks of the season with that foot injury. You're going to have to rely on some younger depth there. But as Allie mentioned, you do have guys like Jackson Moy and Bryson Eason returning for this group. And some good positive news today, and this was not coach speak, thankfully, when asked about Miles Kitzelman's status, and keep in mind he had surgery around April or May on his shoulder. He is good to go. So we will see Miles Kitzelman on Saturday for the Volunteers. Big time news for Tennessee's starting tight end, one of the best players in the country. And that's a big thing that he's a full go. Expect to see a little bit of Desan Brame and Ethan Davis as well. But having Kitzelman being a full go is a great sign. Allie, real quick, how big of a deal is Kitzelman in your eyes?
It's huge. As you said, he's one of the best players, not just for Tennessee, but also in the country. His 5 total scores last season were the 3rd most in the SEC among tight ends. So he is making a name for himself, not just within this program, but within this powerful conference as well. And having him back on our team is huge.
All right, when we come back, we'll do our Underdog Money Dogs presented by VIP Play. Stay right here. It's Fan Run Radio on a Wednesday.
Catch up with all things Fan Run by subscribing to our podcast feed. Like, rate, and download the show from the Fan Run app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, Knoxville. Surfside iced tea and vodka made with real brewed tea is only 100 calories, 2 grams of sugar with no bubbles and no troubles. That's right, 0 carbonation, so it's easy to sip and enjoy. Headed to a game day or party at a friend's house? Bring an iced tea or lemonade variety pack from Surfside or try their green tea and new raspberry tea vodka. Find the can with the sunset stripes this season. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sold at bars, restaurants, and stores near you. Surfside iced tea and vodka. Sunshine in a can. Must be 21 or older. Enjoy responsibly.
Rickard Ridge Barbecue, located in beautiful Cove Lake State Park. Rickard Ridge is home of the best ribs in the Volunteer State. Smoked daily by Pitmaster Mark Rickard. The barbecue at Rickard Ridge is mouth-watering, fall-off-the-bone delicious. Take the scenic drive up I-75 to exit 134. For directions and to look at the rest of the menu, visit Rickard Ridge online at rickardridgebbq.com.
Airlines have just reduced their prices even more. Book 30 days in advance and save big.
Want the absolute lowest prices on your airline tickets? Then call the Low Cost Airlines Travel Hotline right now. For prices so low, we can't publish them anywhere. The only way to access our low rates and save up to 70% is to call. Save hundreds on your vacation tickets by calling right now. You can fly anywhere in the world and pay discount prices on your airline tickets. Book a flight today to London, Paris, Madrid, or anywhere else you want to go and pay a lot less guaranteed. Call the International Travel Department right now at Low Cost Airlines.
800-631-1754. 800-631-1754. 800-631-1754. That's 800-631-1754.
A brand built in Tennessee and born from the love of the game. Inward Half revolutionizes golfing comfort. Crafted by a former pro and dedicated enthusiast just like you, our luxury performance wear guarantees you stay cool and comfortable through every swing and every day. We're not just a brand. We've set out to create a lifestyle for those who understand that impeccable style and premium performance are a hole-in-one. Enjoy the walk-in with Inward Half.
Citizens National Bank.
Life is more fun with a Good Life checking account, offering extra benefits including bank travel. Join us for a trip to Mackinac Island for a stay at the beautiful Grand Hotel. Travel with us to southern Utah to witness the enormous, colorful, and unusual rock formations. Or join us on one of our many day trips. We're always on the go.
Citizens National Bank. Banking never felt so good.
Member FDIC.
All right, back here on Overtime, presented by VIP Play. We appreciate you listening along with us. Before we do our Underdog Money Dogs, we've got a couple of minutes here, and we're going to head to the phones where we've got Patrick on the line. What's up, Patrick? Long time no hear.
Hey, crew.
Hey.
Happy to have you back on.
Allie's back in town.
Very excited to hear from you, Patrick.
Inquiring minds want to know, Allie, whether you picked up any bad habits from those dirty French people with all their smoke breaks and wine swilling.
Of course
French
not.
Talking, no manners.
I actually experienced a lot of very nice local Parisians, but I understand where some of that comes from. I did not pick up any of the bad qualities, only the good ones.
Okay, well, good. So glad to have you back, and certainly missed your commentary. And I was poking a little fun, just in jest, at Heupel. He uses a lot of words, but they don't really amount to a whole lot.
Sure.
What is
He should
the
be a
line?
politician.
He should be, because he would probably get elected. So what's the line on Tennessee Syracuse? I know it's your gambling segment, so what's the line?
Yeah, we're looking at a 13.5 to 14 right now in anticipation for Saturday. I don't really have a true side on this at the moment. I think that Tennessee very well could come out a little bit slow with the new offense, and things could take a little bit to get going. I don't mind the under right now, but I will say I looked it up earlier this week because I was thinking about if I wanted to bet on this game or not. Josh Heupel has averaged 39 points a game against Power 4 opponents outside of the SEC since he arrived here, which is pretty interesting. And that includes the games against Pittsburgh back in 21 and 22. Also includes the bowl games against like an Iowa and a Clemson. But the total for this game is 51. And then right now the current spread minus 14.
51. Wow.
Yeah.
I see, but the thing is, nobody knows, right? Because you've got two, you've got one quarterback who has experience outside of Power 4, but you have no Power 5 experienced quarterbacks, and probably even to a lesser extent, unproven receivers, unproven offensive lines. The thing you have proven from Tennessee's perspective is their defense has been a heck of a lot better than I ever thought it would be.
Yeah.
And it almost appears that they're reloading this year with their front four and even their backside. My question is on how the linebackers will fare this year, but I'll actually be at the game.
There you
go. My father got us some tickets, and so we'll be in section 207 and with my family, and so I'm interested to see. I don't even. I mean, if Aguilar doesn't perform, I'll be disappointed, but I won't be surprised. If he performs average, I won't be surprised. I mean, we just don't know, right?
Yeah. And I think that's the thing about this game is, both teams have a new quarterback that's a transfer coming in. For Tennessee, it's obviously Joey Aguilar. For Syracuse, it's Steve Angeli, who was at Notre Dame last year. And I said for both of them, I think they'll be solid. I don't expect Aguilar to look, like really, really impressive. I don't expect him to throw for like 300 yards. I look around like 215 yards, a touchdown in the air, a touchdown on the ground, and really the running backs do a bulk of the load, because I think you feel more confident with what you have in the running back room and the offensive line as compared to the quarterbacks and wide receivers. Like, I think the biggest concern on this team is the wide receiver room and the wide receiver depth. Like, everyone's hyping up Mike Matthews and Braylon Staley, and they are really talented players. But, if they were really, really talented, why didn't we see them a whole lot last year when there was a ton of injuries to this team? And I think that's just the biggest concern for me. And going up against a Fran Brown defense, his thing at Georgia was defensive backs, and he's carried that background to Syracuse, to where this is going to be a well-coached and disciplined secondary. I think if Joey kind of goes off script and starts trying to revert back to Appalachian State stuff, I think you could be in trouble against a defense like this. So I think he'll be solid. I don't think they're going to ask him to do too much. And I would be completely fine with, 220 yards, a touchdown in the air and on the ground. I think that'd be a solid game, and you can move forward to ETSU with a smile on your face.
How long has that Georgia coach been at Syracuse? Was he there last year as well?
This is his second year. Last year was his first. They were able to get 10 wins last year. Kyle McCord coming over from Ohio State was a big reason why, as he was a, power forward level quarterback, and they threw the hell out of the ball last season. Then they were the number one team in passing offense, 370 yards a game. They're not going to have that because they lose a lot of wide receivers as well. A couple of guys that would have been their best players this season ended up transferring in the spring portal. Trevor Penna went to Penn State, and that was their number one wide receiver. So it could be tough for them as well. But I think, defenses will play a big role here, and I think Tennessee has the better unit from all three levels.
Well, my last comment, thank you for putting me on, but my last comment is, if Tennessee doesn't beat Syracuse on Saturday, Tennessee's in trouble this year.
Yeah.
And they're just in for it, because, I think that would speak towards, especially from an offensive perspective, the somewhat mediocre recruiting on the offensive side of the ball. I'm still shocked at how well they have recruited on the defensive side of the ball, that how they plug and play players and hit on players in the portal, but seem to be whiffing on offense.
Mm-hmm.
And nothing can be. You can't expect what was going to happen with Nico, but I don't even want to think that we will even come close to losing on Saturday. We should beat this team handily, but great to have you back on, young lady, and look forward to hearing you guys this season. So y'all have a good night tonight.
We appreciate you calling in, as always, Patrick. And real quick, before we head to the break, we'll look at the YouTube chat as well. Shane Short says, I will be surprised if he doesn't perform. He should at least be a little bit above average, in my opinion. And that is talking about Joey Aguilar. And I would agree. I think that experience is what should make him above average. But again, I don't expect a whole lot out of him, I think, is my big argument here. I don't expect him to just dazzle. Remember what Nico Iamaleava did in the opener last year. And granted, it was a much inferior opponent, but everyone thought Nico Iamaleava was going to win the Heisman Trophy when we were going into halftime of that UT Chat game. And, obviously we got into SEC play and figured out what Nico Iamaleava really was. But Aguilar is going up against a much better opponent, a Power 4 team in a neutral site game. I expect him to be solid, and maybe that's a little bit above average in many people's terms, but Again, I don't expect him to per se dazzle on Saturday. But when we come back in hour number 2, we'll focus solely on week 1 of college football. We'll also do our Underdog Money Dogs presented by VIP Play, and we'll also take a look at the Shield as the NFL just had their cut day yesterday. We'll tell you the notable names that are looking for new homes and how that affects the respective teams as well. Stay right here. Overtime, hour number 2 on the way right here on Fan Run Radio.
Follow us on Twitter or X or whatever the they're calling it these days at Fox Sports Knox. Fox Sports Knoxville. Fan Run Radio.
Looking for your go-to spot to unwind, enjoy great food, and sip something new? Then head over to the Casual Pint North Shore, where the craft beer is always rotating, the food hits the spot, and the vibe is just right. Join Fan Run Radio for our first Football Friday broadcast of the year, live this Friday from 3 to 6 at the Casual Pint North Shore. Plus, check out brunch every Saturday and Sunday from 11 to 3 with awesome bites and the perfect pour to start your weekend. Not into beer? They've got wine and craft cocktails too, including favorites like the Old Fashioned and Espresso Martini. And don't miss the Ales for All's Passport Challenge. Visit 6 of 9 participating locations and earn a limited edition t-shirt while supporting the Alzheimer's Association. The challenge ends August 31st, so act quickly and support a good cause. Get all the details at northshore.thecasualpint.com and make your next hangout the Casual Pint North Shore.
Located in Knoxville's historic Old City, Barley's offers great food, live music, the best draft beer selection in town, and now your new favorite place to watch sports. Their indoor projector is perfect for any weather, and they've revamped their upstairs area with more TVs to take in all of the action. Their menu features hand-battered chicken tenders, juicy burgers, fresh salads, and the tastiest pizza in Knoxville. You can enjoy their happy hour drink specials daily from open until 6 p.m. Barley's Tap Room and Pizzeria. Blackford Veterinary Surgery Referral specializes in surgeries not regularly performed by your pet's general veterinarian. They're currently accepting referrals from vets all across the country. With their newly renovated state-of-the-art surgery center and highly trained staff, clients can rely on professional and thorough care. If your vet says that your pet needs surgery or rehab, ask for a referral to Blackford Vet and let them get your best friend back on its feet. Located conveniently in West Knoxville. For more information, visit blackfordvetsurgery.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Got a problem tree looming over your home? Call ECR Total Landscapes. Whether it's trimming, removal, or storm cleanup, our certified pros get the job done safely and efficiently. We're licensed, insured, and ready 24/7 for emergency calls. Big or small, we cut them all. ECR Total Landscapes. Call now for a free estimate, 865-384-2012, and mention promo code FANRUN for free stump grinding on any tree removal now through the end of the year. Also, visit us at ecrtotallandscapes.com.
Running a business, coaching a team, planning your next big event, you need more than just gear. You need SM Athletics and Logo Solutions. Custom uniforms, branded apparel, promotional products, done right, done fast, and built to show off your brand with pride. From local businesses to high schools to major universities, SM Athletics is trusted by winners. Get real service, get real quality, get noticed. SM Athletics and Logo Solutions, where your brand comes to life.
Visit smathletics.com and let's build something great together.
Yee-haw! I've been hooting and hollering ever since I started betting with the VIP Play app. VIP Play has more than 200 leagues, every bet type you can imagine. Live betting and live hosts, all with 24/7 support from real live people when you need them. Start betting better with the VIP Play app today.
Don't be a better, be a better with VIP Play today.
Download VIP Play today or head to VIPPlayApp.com. Make sure you use the promo code FANRUN to take advantage of their welcome bonus and so they know that we sent you. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-88-99789. Must be 21 or older and located in Tennessee to bet.
The buzzer has sounded. We are headed to overtime with William Pattison on Fox Sports Knoxville. This is Fan Run Radio.
Here we go. Hour number 2 on a Wednesday, live from the White Claw Hard Seltzer Studios. It's overtime, presented by VIP Play. Allie Campbell and Tyler Barbaras joining you. I'm William Pattison. Great stuff in hour number 1. We'll continue it here in hour number 2 as we'll take a look at some notable roster cuts in the NFL a little bit later on. A tough day for a lot of guys, but a new opportunity could arise, and a former Tennessee quarterback has already found a new home as well. We'll tell you who and tell you those players that were cut a little bit later on. Before that, we'll talk about a loaded Week 1 college football slate that starts tomorrow night with Allie's Boise State Broncos repping the sweatshirt too. Folks,
very exciting.
If you tuned in with us last year, you know all about Allie's fandom with the Broncos. It was her pick to make the college football playoff. I told her after she made her prediction that if they made it, I'd get her an Ashton Gianti jersey. The jerseys were sold out, but that's because of the popularity, high demand. And we also waited a little bit too late, but she's got an Ashton Gianti sweatshirt on.
Here this is. And arguably, I say this is better because I can get all comfy. I can wear this all the time.
Exactly. So it ended up working out anyway. So we'll talk about those Week 1 games. But before that, it's time for our Underdog Money Dogs presented by VIP Play. Go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus. When you make your first bet of $5 or more, you'll get $100 instantly in bonus bets by using the code FANRUN. That's FANRUN in all caps to claim those bonus bets. And folks, the new withdrawal and deposit methods have been added just in time for the college football season, which means there are so many different ways that you can get involved on the action. If you're a Tennessee fan, want to bet on Tennessee Syracuse that currently sits at minus 14 on the spread, minus 51. Excuse me, not minus 51. Over under is 51, the total for this weekend. If you want to bet on that, go ahead and do it. Use the code FANRUN, get $100 in bonus bets. Or if you want to bet on any of these other games this weekend, VIP Play is the place to do it this football season. Make sure you use that code FANRUN, all caps, so that we can get some credit and that you can get $100 in bonus bets. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 years or older and located in Tennessee to bet. Swing it over to Tyler because I peeked his earlier, and I really like this one. Tyler, take it away with your Underdog Money Dog. And real quick before you do, I'm sorry, I should have prefaced that. I got to explain the rules real quick. We've done this now for 3 years in a row, starting this year. And the whole goal of this is to select a team that is plus 250 or more on the money line to win the game. So obviously they're a big underdog, but that's why we call them Underdog Money Dogs. They win, we make some money. And we'll keep track of this throughout the season. I think my record last year, at least during the regular season, was 5-10, but we ended up winning money because if you're only betting one unit, and some of these games you can, triple, quadruple, 5-time your money. Quintuple, is that what it is? Quintuple to
quintuple.
I thought that was like not a trio, the one after a trio. I'm pretty sure that's what a quintuple is.
Okay.
Right?
Well, you can 3 times, 4 times, 5 times your money sometimes. We'll do it that way with some of these big underdogs. So last year we had a winning year, but obviously not a winning record. But again, if you're a bettor, you know what I mean. Tyler, what is your Underdog Money Dog for Week 1 of the college football season?
Yeah, I got to go with the Toledo Rockets here, taking down the Kentucky Wildcats on the road. This Toledo team was very solid last year. They got off to a very, very good start. They beat Duquesne 49-10 in Week 1. They beat Massachusetts 38-23. And then they beat Mississippi State on the road 41-17. They got off to a 3-0 record to start the season last year, headlined by their quarterback, Tucker Gleason, who threw for 2,800 yards, 24 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. He is their returning starting quarterback this year. This is a team that has a lot of returning players, and at plus 260, I really like the value On top of that, I'm not high on Kentucky. Zach Calzada hasn't figured it out. I don't think this is going to be the year that he figures it out. Mark Stoops, not sold. I don't think anyone's sold on you. I think if there's a week 1 college football play to look at, you got to take Toledo because of their experience. They're getting better. They're trending in the right direction. They have their starting quarterback returning. And this is a Kentucky team that is going to be bottom of the barrel of the SEC. And I think you're going to see how bad they are in week 1 this Saturday. So with that being said, I'm going with the Toledo Rockets at plus 260.
All right. So I'll jot that down. Plus 260, the Toledo Rockets. I've got a very unique side this week for my underdog money dog. And again, these aren't plays that I'm actually going to bet. This is just the practice of taking an underdog money dog. And maybe I'll sprinkle a couple of dollars on it just for the fun. But outside of last year, over the last 19 years, there has been at least one upset between a Power 4 opponent versus someone, significantly lower, like in an FCS conference or, Division 1 FBS, Division 1 FCS. There's always been at least one upset, and I'm going to go with one of those this weekend. I'm going to take University of Tennessee Martin, the Skyhawks, plus 769 or plus 800.
Wow.
On a couple of books, plus 800 this weekend to beat Oklahoma State on the road. Now, Haas Henge has been named the starter for the Cowboys, and he's a TCU transfer. But keep in mind, folks, this Oklahoma State team last year was one of the best on paper coming into the season and ended up going 3-9 and winless in conference play. Ollie Gordon, a Doak Walker Award winner, was on that team last year. You had a 7th-year senior at quarterback for that team. This was a good team heading into the season, and they were a nightmare. And now you take out a ton of really big contributors from last season and remove them from this upcoming team. I don't have a whole lot of confidence in this Oklahoma State team. I think that Mike Gundy has done a lot for the program, but I think he's on one of the hotter seats in the country. And a start like this would be, a fire igniter where, that seat goes from hot to blazing hot, and you kind of got to sit up a little bit because your butt's on fire. Like, that's the type of deal it's going to be if they lose this game. But
oh dear,
I'm going with Tennessee Martin because this is an experienced squad. I get it. They're in a much lower division, and this is FCS football. But I'm more so doing this because I don't believe in Oklahoma State. And outside of last year, there's always been one of these type of upsets in college football. I'm going to go with the Skyhawks, plus 800 on the money line for my underdog money dog. Again, folks, I'm not saying go put a unit on this play. This is the practice we do year in and year out. This is the bet I like at the moment for my underdog money dog, and that's the one I'm going to submit for this week. So Tyler takes Toledo at plus 260. I take the UT Martin Skyhawks at plus 800. Allie's best bet of the week, Tennessee money line. That's her underdog money dog. That's what we did last year. So we're going to continue doing it this year. Allie had a great record last season, by the way.
Yeah.
You ended up going 10-3.
Mm-hmm. Not too bad.
Yeah. And you also, you could have had some value on that Ohio State game, but obviously that one went a little sour. But
unfortunate.
We'll see if Allie can replicate that record again this year. All right. Those are our 2 plays. Tyler, we have someone on the line? No. Okay. We'll switch over now to week 1 of this college football season. It's going to be one for the ages. It hit Dabo Swinney when the Clemson coach woke up this past Sunday morning and it was game week. The season opener, the end of 8 months of talking and preparing and practicing, and now a really good football game that counts. When you look up and go, oh man, we're playing LSU on national TV at home. That's what he told people on Monday. Swinney said, quote, "It's awesome. It's a lot of juice, man. You can feel it." And they probably felt it also at LSU and at Ohio State and Texas and Notre Dame and Miami, maybe even South Carolina, Tennessee, and Syracuse. We got so many big-time games this week. Everyone is feeling the juice this week. And this could be the best week 1 we've ever seen in college football. It features 3 matchups between ranked teams in the top 10 of the AP preseason poll for the first time in a very long time. It goes all the way back to like 1978. We got number 1 Texas at number 3 Ohio State, number 9 LSU at number 4 Clemson, number 6 Notre Dame at number 10 Miami. We've got a ton of big-time games, and we'll dive into those here in just a second because I told Roberto that we would call him back. We would get things figured out, and we got Roberto on the line. Roberto, what's up? Good to hear from you.
There it is.
Finally!
Let's go. 6 times the charm, baby.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, Roberto. I don't know. I don't know if you saw it. I DM'd you yesterday. I apologize.
Yeah, I saw it. I appreciate that.
Okay.
Hey, look, you're going to have a hard time making me mad, guys. I have tripled 11-and-a-half-year-old daughters. Like, it's going to take a lot more than that to piss me off. All right. So, first of all, Allie, what's up? I'm assuming she's still on here. She didn't jump at the 7 o'clock hour.
No, she's here.
Absolutely.
She's the best. Welcome home.
Thank you so much. Happy to be here and excited to hear from you.
I heard you guys talking about going or not going to Atlanta, right? This was in the first segment. I was cooking dinner for my kids before I take them to church. And let me tell you, always go to all the games as much as you possibly can. Guys, when you have kids, that game that you're going to or not going to or whatever you're going to not do or do this weekend costs you $750 in tickets plus hotel plus gas to run the Vandalorian. Okay? So let's go with it here and just say always do whatever you can. Learn to sleep on your friends' couches.
Did you hear that, Tyler?
I did hear it. I'll try and get work in later tonight, see if there's a spot that I can crash at.
Roberto, I wish I was in Tyler's shoes still. Last year I went to every single game and I loved it. It's all about crashing on the couch, sleeping on the ground, sleeping outside.
Mm-hmm.
There's some people that would sleep outside on the porch, whatever it may be.
Being a total vagrant.
Exactly. It's all about the experience. And that's what I was trying to tell Tyler. This is going to be the first time I'm not at a Tennessee game in person since 2023. I'm not going on Saturday, unfortunately. I've got some work to do, but
I'm going to the beach.
Well,
it was cheaper to take my kids and wife and go to the beach than it was to go to a football game.
Fair.
But anytime you get to see the Mighty Orange play anyone, I 10 out of 10 recommend in person.
Yeah.
And I heard you say Tyler said he's going to go to Alabama. Is that right?
Yep, that is the plan. Going to Alabama, want to go to Kentucky.
Okay.
Me and the whole family, we're going down to Gainesville for that game. So
wow.
I already got
I'd love
3.
to hear your power rankings at the end of the season.
All right. Yeah. We'll do that.
Absolute dumps and disgusting criminal infested fields. I'll tell you this, of all the ones you just mentioned, Alabama's easily the nicest.
Oh yeah.
That's what I've heard. That is what I've heard. So I'll compile a list. I already have been to a couple away games, so I'll compile a list, and then at the end of the regular season, I'll make those power rankings.
Have you and your family allotted at least $100 for STD testing when you get back from Gainesville? And it has nothing to do with your prowess or promiscuous nature of any kind. It has everything to do with once you sit on those bleachers, man.
I'll make sure to do a bubble wrap myself.
Yeah, my cousin was a walk-on at Florida, and I'll never let him live down so many things I can't say on the radio about their stadium.
Yeah.
But our grandmother, who at the time would have been 81. Let me do the math. No, she'd have been 81 at the time. We went for his senior day where he got to like dress and stuff or whatever, right? And we were Tennessee fans. It was a Tennessee game, and they threw urine on my 81-year-old grandmother.
Oh wow!
So lock in. It's quite the occasion. Yeah. Super high class people down there. But I can tell you guys that going to road games is my favorite thing.
Oh yeah.
And especially when you win and you get it's great to be a Tennessee Vol all the way out. And every time I listen to y'all, it's just like, man, I pine for my youth. All y'all are like half my age, but that's awesome. I'm glad for you guys that you're getting to live it up, and I highly recommend you do. And a couple $100 here, $400 or $500 there. That's no money, man.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of life, spend it now. Because
Totally
trust
agree.
me, once you have kids, you don't have it anyways.
Yeah.
Can I, and I appreciate you letting me just ramble, but can I weigh in on this? Because I heard you talking about Joey Aguilar versus their defense.
Yeah.
I'm very interested in that. I'm very interested in their wide receivers against our cornerbacks. I heard you talk about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
But the matchup of all matchups is our defensive line against their offensive line.
Sure.
And the frankness of it is, I trust John Bryce for more than one reason. I would call him a friend personally, but also I trust his judgment when he sees a player. He watched Steve Angeli a lot last year because he covers Notre Dame now for Football Scoop.
Yeah.
And he said that the dude is a flat out statue. And if that's true, last time I checked, Rodney and the boys get pressure up the middle.
Yeah. Well, but that's the thing.
I'm not too worried about it.
That is the thing, Roberto, though. So, I do think that Angeli is a true pocket passer, not a guy that necessarily wants to scramble out and make plays. And he did it one time in that drive against Penn State that was pretty surprising. And I think that's more so why that whole thing was just shocking that he was able to kind of orchestrate that.
He was very good, for the record. He was very good.
And he was, but I don't like taking so much stock in that because that was one drive and Penn State had planned for a rushing quarterback in Riley Leonard. Now you go up against a guy and Angeli, that's a pocket guy. But I am a little bit concerned in the depth interior wise because as we know, David Hobbs not going to be available with a foot injury. And that means a lot of your kind of second win guys are going to be really young. You got two blue chip players that are freshmen and Ethan Utley and Isaiah Campbell that are going to be having to fill those roles. I do like Jackson Moy. I do like Bryson Eason. Joshua Josephs, I think, is primed for a big season. But
he's going to play on the outside a lot.
Exactly. And I was just kind of looking at that, defensive front in general.
Defensive line total.
Yeah. And I do worry, as last year, your defensive line was so predicated on being able to kind of go in and out, bring guys in and out and have them, refreshed and ready to go. I do worry about in this matchup if those freshmen are ready to take that step.
I would actually tend to agree with that. How do I say this politely to Syracuse? Other than, I don't know if they play Clemson this year, so full stop. I don't know that. But other than potentially Clemson, they're not going to face a deeper front than we are, even when we're thin, right?
Yeah.
And if I'm their coach, I am worried about the health of my quarterback.
Yeah.
Because even if we stand them up on the lines, guys, Jordan Ross, right? It is Jordan Ross this year. Joshua Josephs. Who's our third guy out there? I'm blanking. I can see him.
Just you talking about interior or
no, on the edge rushers. He's strong side. Just blank. Oh well, it doesn't matter. Our three defensive ends. If they can just stand him up in the middle, our three defensive ends are going to feast on that guy.
Sure.
Because he doesn't. The next time he does see a blitz, it will be the first. I don't know if you remember, but the Penn State, other than the scramble you're talking about, they got to him pretty quick. I mean, he made some really good throws under duress. But again, you're right. They weren't prepared for him.
Yeah.
I think we're going to eat him up.
Like maybe referring to a Tyree West, Dominic Bailey.
Thank you, Tyree West.
Yeah.
Thank you. And Dominique Bailey, a starter who I totally blanked on. Yeah, he's going to be – those are your two strong sides, right? And then the weak side defensive ends are going to be the other two, right?
Yeah, Caleb Herring in that mix as well.
Did they stand him up and walk him back a little bit and play him at linebacker and almost hybrid to a 4-3?
They do. I mean, he's kind of like one of those utility players, which I like, though, because, at least if you're a little bit thin interior-wise, you could put in a Herring in a certain moment to just kind of fill that void, defensive edge, maybe slide a guy inside, whatever it may be.
Will you think we'll go cheetah package some this year like we did last year, except, with a guy who can actually tackle other than James Pierce running the kind of the two technique, if you will?
I don't know, because, like if you're going to run cheetah, like when Clemson did that with I think it was Isaiah Simmons. Like Isaiah Simmons was really, really good at that cheetah position. But I mean, that was a guy that was a bona fide NFL draft pick at that spot and could, do a couple of different things. Well, while I do think Joshua Josephs is really, really strong and will be a draft pick, like outside of guys like that, I don't know if you have, at least going into this season right now, like a bona fide guy that could play that position and you're fully confident with.
Or maybe you just bring two of your strong sides in.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sure.
And you drop, Dominique Bailey down in there, and then bring in West. Because West, before he got nicked last year, do y'all remember how dominant he was coming off the bench?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he's a freak show. I feel really good about it. I'm also a huge Sheep. So, whatever. I've got Tennessee 10-2. So
yeah. Oh, wow. There you go. At least you're optimistic.
I'm pretty confident.
Yeah.
I feel really good. I mean, if Josh Heupel can do it with a quarterback who can't throw the ball at all, like Nico Iamaleava, or as I call him, I'm always going to leave you.
Yeah,
I am not leaving.
Yeah, or Iadramaleava.
That's a new one.
And that actually, I digress, but that leads me to the last point. Boo Carter, this whole thing, and his mom going off again today. Guys, what, or girls for that matter, when are we going to say enough's enough? Like, I'm getting tired of it as a fan. Also, I sit on the porch and yell at people who speed in my neighborhood. So understand that, that's where we're coming from. I'll leave you with that, guys. I hope you have a great week. This is my last call this week to y'all. I got to be out of town, but I really hope you enjoy your weekend. Congrats. You made it. Welcome to college football.
Thank you, Roberto. We appreciate you calling in, and have a good time at the beach as well. Take some relaxation, and at least you'll save some money from going to Atlanta, taking the whole family there. Those tickets do get expensive. On that topic that you posed, my thing's like, look, Boo Carter is here to play football. I think we're giving in to what Boo Carter's mom wants us to do and talking about what she's posting on Facebook and all of that. The way I look at this season, Boo Carter's here for the year. We'll kind of cross that path when it comes around in the offseason of whether he stays. I believe he's gone, but I think he's still going to give you a really impressive year, because if he's going to go try to play at another place, he's got to look good so he can make that bag. And, as frustrating as it is to see what Boo Carter's mom keeps on putting out on Twitter, there's nothing you can do about it as a team, as a coach, as a player. You just got to let it go. And I think, a lot of that is kind of fan driven, and it is frustrating. So I do understand where you're coming from, but I just look at it. We got a big game this week. Boo Carter's mom can put out whatever she wants on Facebook. I'll spot the ball and let's play ball. We'll go back to college football real quick. As I mentioned, a huge week one, 3 top 10 matchups this weekend. There have never been this many games between top 10 teams on any opening weekend. In fact, this is only the 4th regular season week of any kind since 1978 to feature 3 in one weekend. And those other occurrences in 2017, 2016, and 2002. And looking at the YouTube live chat, Matt G chimes in, says that LSU Clemson game should be exciting. Who y'all got? And Allie was talking about it during the break that she's really keyed on in this game. Allie, when you look at that matchup, what excites you the most?
This is a massive game, slightly overshadowed by the Texas-Ohio State game and all of these huge matchups this week. It's just insane how much is going on. But this is huge because it's the 2 Tiger teams. Both have Death Valley. This is going to be at Clemson this year. 2 returning quarterbacks. And with this year of college football, there's so many new quarterbacks. So to have 2 really, really strong returning quarterbacks, this is going to be huge. LSU's Garrett Nussmeier and Clemson's Cade Klubnik. A little bit of a tongue twister there. But they will be matching up tonight. LSU has not won an opener since Joe Burrow played for them. That is 5 years. Brian Kelly is often unable to execute in some of these big games, so it's a matter of can he get it done. They have Whit Weeks on LSU's team, and he actually has his 2 brothers also on the team. I just think that's an interesting story.
Yeah.
But they went in to fix their defensive issues with a new defensive coordinator. That's Blake Baker. So expecting some improvements there. But Clemson is just so strong this year. They have 3 hugely talented wide receivers this year. They also bring in a new defensive coordinator from Penn State, Tom Allen. They have 4 returning starters on their offensive front, and they bring back 6 overall returning starters, including Cade Klubnik. I just really think that Clemson will be able to get it done. They just look like such a strong team, but this is such a huge game. ACC versus SEC, high stakes, a big showing for what the rest of these 2 team seasons could look like.
Yeah, I really like that take. A big one this weekend in Death Valley. Got a friend of mine who plays for the Tigers. Shout out Peter Nern. The championship season begins on Saturday, And a lot of the Clemson players have been reacting and kind of liking and sharing some of my stuff. So I've got a real love for Clemson this year, and they're my number one team in the country. I believe they'll win the national championship. Good call there.
Wow.
Tyler, when you look at some of these other games, we've got 3 more ranked teams who are playing power conference opponents, plus a 4th ranked team playing on the road. Alabama travels to Florida State. South Carolina goes up against Virginia Tech. Tennessee and Syracuse. Boise State at South Florida. Which one are you most intrigued out of that group?
Can I go a little bit off topic here?
Okay.
I like the Alabama-Florida State game. I think that is going to be very intriguing because I think Florida State is going to be a completely different team than what they were last year. And I think with Ty Simpson, week 1, I've been saying this for so long, that's always the toughest week, especially for players like Ty Simpson, who has been behind the quarterback depth chart for so long, and now he's thrown into the fire this year with high expectations as a former, top recruit. I think that, this Florida State defense with a Mike Norvell-led team, he's going to have his guys ready. I think that game's going to be a lot closer than people expect because I think this Alabama offense, especially that passing attack, could come out flat early. However, Alabama's being Alabama. They're going to win that football game, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think it will be, especially in that first half. So I'm intrigued by that, and I'm also saying that a little bit biasedly because we are a Florida State family with my older brother going there, so rooting for the Seminoles in that one.
Really intrigued by Thursday night's game, Boise State and South Florida. The Broncos return a ton of players from last year's team, like a Maddox Madsen at quarterback and a Virgin Morgan on the defensive end position. Really, really strong team, but I'm kind of leaning South Florida, at least to cover in this one. Bynum Brown, the veteran quarterback returning for Alex Golish's offense. Should be a fun one tomorrow night in South Florida. There are 5 more power conference matchups, including Bill Belichick's debut as North Carolina's head coach. And these are not ranked games, but they are still really, really intriguing ones. Tomorrow night, we get Nebraska versus Cincinnati. This one is being played in Arrowhead Stadium, where the Kansas City Chiefs play. So a neutral site matchup here. But Nebraska, not too far away, should see a pretty good Cornhusker crowd there. Then you've got Georgia Tech traveling to Colorado. Former Tennessee quarterback Caden Salter named the starter for the Buffs. The first game without Travis Hunter and Shedeur Sanders on the sidelines. What does Colorado look like? But don't count out Georgia Tech. Hayes King still plays for this group and had a really impressive season last year. Auburn at Baylor. I'll get to that one here in just a second. But Utah at UCLA. Nico Iamaleava makes his debut up against Kyle Whittingham's squad. And then TCU in North Carolina. Josh Hoover got a lot of praise this offseason. These 2 teams play on Monday. Can the Horned Frogs go on the road and get a win in Bill Belichick's debut? But I want to focus out of this group, Auburn at Baylor. I really like this Baylor team this season. Sawyer Robertson, I believe, is a top 10 quarterback in college football. Bryce Washington had such a strong season at running back last year. He returns. And this is an offense that returns 4 guys from the strongest offensive line, arguably in the Big 12 last season. This is a damn good Baylor team. They're plus 2.5 at home on VIP play, which I believe is malpractice because I think they're the better team in this matchup. Auburn, on the other hand, has got a lot of pressure to win this one. This is Hugh Freeze in year 3. He's got to find some success. He's got a new quarterback with Jackson Arnold. They're going to probably play a couple of different options. They got 3 quarterbacks that could possibly play, said Freeze last week, which is not a great thing, but Jackson Arnold is the starter. I do like Coleman at wide receiver. I do like Eric Singleton, the transfer from Georgia Tech at receiver. They've got some good players there. Keldrick Falk is going to be an NFL Day 1 draft pick next season. I guess this upcoming draft. He's a really good defensive edge, one of the best in the country. But I like Baylor in this matchup, and this could be their arrival onto the national scene of we're no longer, just a middle-of-the-pack team in the Big 12 or a team trying to make it to the Big 12 championship. We're a team that's contending for a college football playoff spot. Sawyer Robertson, I think, has the DNA to do it. I think they've got the weapons around him, and Cameron Williams, a former walk-on wide receiver who had 10 touchdowns last year, the most for a Baylor receiver since 2021. I really like this Baylor team. I expected them to get it done in a rocking environment on Friday night. That game's on Fox. And as we talked about yesterday, Fox YouTube TV, we're having a little bit of a dilemma. They solved it today. So now you can watch Auburn and Baylor. You can watch Texas and Ohio State over the weekend as well. Some good games on your TV this weekend for college football. Good stuff. Tyler, real quick, we got to hit a break, but what you got to say?
Yeah, yesterday I was telling you how I like Baylor, and you were like, money line or spread? And I said, money line. And you go, oh, really? Like, you kind of gave me a little bit of pushback on taking the ML. But now you like the ML?
Well, that's my betting hat. This is my analysis hat.
Okay.
My betting hat, I'll take the plus 2.5. I'd rather have plus 3 at home because I'm getting a field goal. I don't like pushing money line all the time because I think you can be over aggressive. And Auburn is an SEC team, and Baylor's at home, and they're getting the weight of being at home, and they're still a dog, which I think is an issue. In reverse, I think Texas could go on the road and beat Ohio State. I'd rather take the money line there at plus 2.5 in a road environment. So I don't want to take a 2.5 dog at home in Baylor, knowing they're already getting the benefit of the, weighted playing in their own stadium.
Okay.
For Texas, I believe they're one of the best teams in the country with a more established quarterback, better defense. If it's at 1.5, there's no point in taking the 1.5. I'd rather take the money line there. So that's my betting analysis hat as opposed to William Patterson's analysis hat.
It's a good sports gambler right there. Might have to take you up on that then.
I try to be. And if you want to bet with me, you can do it all season long at the Patifax on Twitter. Also, I put the plays out on our Fox Sports channels as well. So however you want to follow it, a little bit quicker on the Patifax stuff. But also, you can bet with VIP Play. It's a great system, great app. They've done so much work over the last couple of weeks. Hats off to those guys to get it ready for the college football season. Use code FANRUN, all caps FANRUN, to claim $100 in bonus bets. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 years or older and located in Tennessee to bet. When we come back, we'll switch over to the NFL, some notable cuts. We'll break it down when we return right here on FanRun Radio.
For the fans, by the fans, this is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
It's football time at Tennessee, so crack open a cold beer that doesn't fumble the flavor. Garage Beer is 100% beer-flavored beer. No gimmicks, just cold beer. Built for bonfires, backyards, and beating Bama. Garage Beer is proud to be brewed right here in the Volunteer State. So pick up a 12-pack today and look for the drive celebrating Football Fridays at select Garage Beer headquarters around town this fall. American-owned, Tennessee-brewed Garage Beer. 100% beer-flavored beer.
The Tennessee Volunteers kick off the 2025 season against Syracuse on Saturday, and the Fan Run Radio crew will be watching the game at Barley's in the Old City. You should watch it there with us, too. Kickoff is at noon, and we'll be there before that getting fired up for the season opener. Food, drinks, football, and fun. We hope to see you there.
Believe in family. Believe in your fellow man. Believe in honesty and an honest day's work. We do. We're Farm Bureau Insurance, and we don't just believe in Tennessee. We believe in Tennesseans. Farm Bureau Insurance, Tennessee's insurance company.
This is Baseball VFL Cody Brown. Farm Bureau Insurance is the official insurance for Tennesseans. Believe in me for all of your insurance needs. Give me a call at 865-992-3871.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your home exterior needs. If your home needs new siding, windows, doors, gutters, handrails, a deck, or a new roof, then give my friends at North Knox Siding and Windows a call at 865-689-0505. You can also visit their showroom at 5618 North Broadway. Locally owned and operated and proudly serving all of Knoxville and the surrounding areas, North Knox Siding and Windows. Online at northknoxsidingandwindows.com.
Have you ever found yourself wishing your clothes looked brand new again? Whether it's your favorite suit, that little black dress, or your comfy winter coat, Crown Cleaners can make it happen. From stubborn stains to delicate fabrics, the expert team at Crown Cleaners uses the latest cleaning technology to ensure your clothes come back looking and feeling fresh. Visit one of their 2 area locations, Kingston Pike on Bearden Hill or South North Shore Drive near Dunkin' Donuts. Online at crowncleaners.com. Crown Cleaners, a tradition of excellence.
Attention service members and veterans. Introducing the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. From court martials to benefit claims, at Griffin Law, your mission is their mission. Here's VFL Marshall Griffin.
As a veteran and retired military attorney, I've successfully defended lifelong benefits and helped preserve professional futures. So I know that when you hire a military justice lawyer, you maximize your chance to get relief. With my unique experience, I can advocate for you because there's no military matter that's too big or too small. Let us help you make these critical decisions that could affect the rest of your life. Remain silent. Request counsel. Call Griffin Law.
For a free consultation, call 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or just visit griffinlawdefense.com.
Every day I'm hustling, 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 every day I'm hustling. Who you suckers think you're tripping with?
All right, back here on Overtime, presented by VIP Play. Go claim your VIP Play welcome bonus, and when you make your first bet of $5 or more, you'll get $100 instantly in bonus bets by using the code FANRUN. Gambling problem, call 1-800-889-9789. Must be 21 years or older and located in Tennessee to bet. We'll switch over now to the NFL very quickly, as we do have some very important news to cover in the final segment. But roster cuts were yesterday, and all 32 teams had to get their rosters down to 53 guys on the team. And there were some notable transactions that were made. Hendon Hooker was one of them. He was cut on Monday by the Detroit Lions, but as of today, he is signed with the Carolina Panthers and will be on their practice squad. So that now makes 2 out of the 3 quarterbacks on the Panthers roster that competed in the 2022 Tennessee-Alabama game, where Bryce Young was obviously playing for the Tide in that one and is the starter for the Panthers. So those two battled it out. Hendon Hooker got the upper hand in that one. Does he get the upper hand in the quarterback room in Carolina? We'll have to see how it plays out, but good to see Hendon Hooker land back on his feet. Actually, one of my big surprises from the cuts is in Carolina, and that's going to be Hunter Renfrow at wide receiver. Renfrow has kind of bounced around the league, debated retirement, decided to come back and play for the Panthers in the offseason, or I guess in training camp, kind of see where he stood. I thought he was a guy that was going to make the roster. He had some really impressive tape in the stuff I saw. Had some really strong one-on-ones against a couple of the Carolina second-round picks, and I thought he was a guy that could make the roster. And again, Bryce Young is a guy that needs all the help he can get. He's on a rookie contract. Carolina's trying to figure out, is this the guy moving forward? You need as much help as you can get, and you trade a guy in Adam Thielen away, who I don't think is very good at this point in his career, but I don't really understand the point of, getting rid of a couple of guys with experience at receiver in addition to what you have with Tet McMillan and Xavier Legette. So I was surprised they cut Hunter Renfrow. I think he's a guy that could still play in this league if given the right opportunity. And that was honestly one of my more surprising drops of the roster cuts. Tyler, when you looked at it, what was the most surprising roster cut in your eyes?
There was a player that you name dropped earlier, and I'm not saying that it's surprising because his career hasn't gone the way that a lot of us expected it to go, but that's Isaiah Simmons. He was on the Packers, the 8th overall pick in 2020. Played his last 2 seasons with the Giants, signed, one of those come into training camp, see if you still have anything left type deals. He ended up getting cut. The talent was so evident when he was at Clemson, and there were flashes in his first year as a rookie in Arizona, but this is just a guy that is a little bit too small to play linebacker and a little bit too slow to play safety, and you can't really fit him in anywhere else on that defense. So that wasn't my pick, though. My pick, honestly, was probably Kenyon Green, guard from the Eagles. He got traded to Philadelphia, or excuse me. Yes. No, he did get traded to Philadelphia in the C.J. Gardner-Johnson deal. Funny now, C.J. Gardner-Johnson tore his ACL, so now he's not going to be suiting up for the Texans this year. And now Kenyon Green, the return for Philadelphia, isn't going to be suiting up for them this year. But Kenyon Green was a 2022 first-round pick for the Texans. In 3 years with Houston, he started 23 games. However, those 23 games weren't very good. But I think when you have a guy that's young, he's 25 years old, still has, a lot of room to grow. I think on any other team, he could get a chance to play and maybe even be a starter. But, when you have Landon Dickerson, who even is still injured and it's not looking like he'll be ready by week 1, if you're still getting cut, even with a vacant guard position on that roster as a former first-round pick, it means you're just not carrying your weight, and it means that you honestly aren't a good offensive lineman in the NFL. However, I do think there are a lot of teams that could use interior offensive lineman help. You hate when I do this, William, but the Ravens are one of them. Wouldn't be shocked if Kenyon Green got a deal to, one of these contending teams that could use some more depth, try and revitalize his career. But just shocking overall how, you have an Isaiah Simmons who was arguably one of the best players in that 2020 draft, and a Kenyon Green, one of the better offensive linemen in that 2022 draft. Fast forward 2-3 years and their careers are already finished. It's crazy, but at the end of the day, the NFL is a business.
Yeah, first off, I don't get mad when you talk about the Ravens. I just poke fun. The same. Now, I will get mad if you ever bring up the Wizards again until we get into the bulk of NBA. I don't want to hear any more about the Wizards.
Who?
There we go. Very good, Tyler. Learning. Just kind of going down the list here, trying to find another guy of emphasis or importance. Andrick Estime for the Denver Broncos, he was dropped, and I think that's opening up the way for R.J. Harvey, a rookie out of Central Florida that's going to take over that starting position. But Estime was a guy that was a fifth-round pick in 2024 for the Broncos, found his way into the rotation last year. And I know running back is a very plug-and-play position in the NFL, but surprised at that one. And another one kind of just shows his age. Trent Brown was dropped by the Houston Texans, and Trent Brown at the top of his game was the highest paid offensive tackle at the time, and injuries have really derailed his career. He was dropped by Houston, and I think this is now starting to get to the end of his career. But a couple of notable names. It's always funny to see when Adam Schefter or Ian Rappaport, whoever it may be, they purposely sometimes put out a couple of names just to kind of get a little bit of an engagement or kind of poke fun. Michael Jordan was dropped by the Patriots on Tuesday.
Lamar Jackson.
And we did see that.
No, not Lamar Jackson. Well, Samuel Jackson was dropped by the Jets. So Samuel Jackson, I guess, decided to pick up, a football career and take a little bit of time away from his acting career. But he has been dropped, so now he's got more time. But it's always funny to see the names of these people.
It's a smart tactic.
Yeah.
I also have another Broncos guy.
Okay.
Lavelle Bailey, inside linebacker.
Okay.
He was expected to be the number one backup behind two guys coming off of major injuries. So it's kind of, unexpected that they would just let him go out of the blue. He was a standout defensive player in camp, and they talked about him a lot. And then all of a sudden, they're letting him go without warning. So that was kind of surprising as well.
Yeah, good addition there. One more. Yeah, you got another guy?
Big Desmond Watson, the 450-pound unit from Florida. I thought it was very unfair that you didn't even put this guy on the defensive line to see what he could do. Like, that's probably the strongest guy on your football team. Put him at nose tackle and just see if he could put someone on his ass.
Didn't they have a contingency, though? Like, he had to lose a certain amount of weight?
He lost 40 pounds, and they still cut him. They put him in one of those heavy vests, and they just made him run in condition and lose weight, sauna, try to get him to eat better, lay off the Taco Bell and the McDonald's. He did all of that. And the Bucs still cut him. I don't think that was very fair.
I feel like that's such a hard place to be because all your life you're taught at that position to bulk up and be big and, you're liked for your size. And that was probably the thing that made him stand out the most was his size.
Oh,
and then all of a sudden he's told, drop it.
Yeah.
I feel bad for him. I wish he was able to stick around and maybe he'll get another chance because he is actually a solid player. It was good for the Gators. And I don't know, just some of the videos that came out of him during training camp of him just kind of looking, I mean, I don't blame him, just kind of looking sad all by himself, just kind of like tapping at one of the dummies. I mean, it was, I don't know. I thought the Bucks could have handled it a little bit better. But again, at that weight out in the Florida heat, it's a little bit of a health risk to have him, in the same type of drills and stuff like that with everyone else.
Get him in Buffalo.
Speaking of Tampa Bay, they dropped Kyle Trask, and Kyle Trask was a former Florida Gator player that was really good as well as Watson, but Trask had a little bit of a better season than Watson did. But Trask has been on this team since 2021, never has had an opportunity to take that starting role. Him and Baker Mayfield battled it out heading into the 23 season, and Mayfield ended up winning it. But Trask, I think, is a good enough player to where he could be a backup, or hell, if he played for the Saints, he'd be the starter, as the Saints just named Spencer Rattler the starter.
Gross.
He's terrible. I expect Trask to land somewhere else, but I think he's good enough to stick on a roster. We'll have to see if he's able to do that. The Bucks are moving with Teddy Bridgewater as their backup going forward, and Bridgewater is an older player, but he's got some experience, and that'd be, I guess, a safe option if Mayfield were to go down. All right, when we come back, it's Allie's segment. It's our final thoughts. Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are engaged, and we'll talk about it
You'll
here.
want to hear it.
We'll talk about it on Fan Run Radio.
Congratulations. You found sports radio that doesn't suck. This is Fan Run Radio, Knoxville.
Yo, 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 what is up with it, homies? Talk sports, that's the show you want. It's the longest running sports radio morning show in town. You want your radio shows to be fun, and that's what Talk Sports is. Fun, fun, fun. No weirdo callers. I like Tennessee, gonna go 6-6 this year. No nerdy guests. Well, their receiver depth is a little bit thin. Just two of the most entertaining guys in town, and Bubba giving you what you need. Tune in 7 to 10 a.m. every weekday here on Fan Run Radio.
It's time for the North Knox Siding and Windows High School Football Player of the Week. Brought to you by North Knox Siding and Windows. Call 865-689-0505 or visit them online at northknoxsidingandwindows.com.
This week's North Knox Siding and Windows High School Football Player of the Week is Catholic High School defensive back Chaz Smith. Smith led the way defensively with 4 tackles and 2 interceptions, including the game clincher in Catholic's 20-6 win over Murfreesboro Riversdale on the road last week, as the Irish begin the season 1-0. Catholic High School's Chaz Smith, this week's North Knox Siding and Windows High School Football Player of the Week.
North Knox Siding and Windows, locally owned and operated. They can handle all your siding, window, gutter, and roofing needs. Call 865-689-0505 for a free estimate or go online to northknoxsidingandwindows.com.
Are you tired of hiding your smile because of crooked teeth? At Knoxville Smiles, we've got the perfect solution. Invisalign. No metal, no wires. Just clear, comfortable aligners that straighten your teeth without anyone noticing. Eat what you want, smile with confidence, and see results in as little as 6 months. Call us today for more information about Invisalign, 865-539-1776, or just visit us online at knoxvillesmiles.com. Smile brighter with Knoxville Smiles.
Hello, is Tina there?
Who's this?
Yeah, this is Vince from the hit reality show Wives Don't Tell. Tina applied for our show to confess that her husband won't go to the doctor to get his erectile dysfunction checked. She said she's ready for a guy that can bring the heat.
All right, what the hell is going on? You know you're talking to her husband right now? Tina!
Well, she wrote the application that her man's performance is questionable. She's basically married to a coffee table. She also said, we live within driving distance to Men's Pro Knoxville, but he's too scared to get a blood test.
Oh my, she is done. She is so done.
Got you, Mike. It's nephew Tommy. Ain't no reality show. It's a prank. Men's Pro Knoxville is the real deal, fellas. Local experts, test results in minutes. Call 865-544-8220 or hit menspronknoxville.com before your lady books a new co-star. Men's Pro Knoxville, making it happen.
Hey folks, if you're in need of a lawyer, you need to call my friend Jerry Givens. I've known Jerry since high school and can personally vouch for him. He's East Tennessee through and through, and if you're going through a divorce, bankruptcy, or a DUI case, you'll need someone you can trust on your side to help you navigate the local legal system. You can trust Jerry Givens. Call the law offices of Jerry Givens today at 865-801-9250 to schedule your free consultation. That's 801-9250.
All right, final thoughts on this Wednesday edition of OT. Big day here at Fan Run Radio. Happy to welcome on Tony Basilio starting next Monday. Great job by everyone here at Fan Run for bringing him on. One of the fastest growing radio stations in the country is right here in Knoxville, Tennessee. Final thoughts today. Allie texted yesterday in the middle of the day, we are doing this segment, no questions asked. The lights went out yesterday. The power went out. Nothing is going to stop this segment from happening. Allie, take it away.
Thank you so much. So I'm not sure if you've heard. If you haven't, you're living under a rock. At 1 p.m. yesterday, Taylor and Travis did a combined Instagram post announcing their engagement. This is huge news, and I think this is something that everyone should be excited about. If you don't like her music, fine. If you don't like seeing her during your NFL games, also totally fine. You know what? She probably doesn't like it either. I wouldn't want to know that people are watching me the entire 4 hours or whatever of the game. But she is someone that is unproblematic. She puts herself out there. She's a great role model for young girls. She works her butt off, and she's rich. So clearly she's doing something right. She's creative. She's talented. And now the most macho man in society loves her. The dude of all dudes decided that Taylor Swift is his person. So if you're a man out there and you find yourself rolling your eyes when you hear about this, take it upon yourself to maybe look at why Travis Kelce, the most macho man, the idol of a lot of guys, loves this woman, and maybe start realizing why your daughter, wife, sister, whoever likes her, because there's fair reason behind it. And I love this matchup because they are two very successful people, and they have a lot they can relate to with each other, with the fame and the pressure and all the expectations. And so now they get to support each other. And I love that he's a secure guy that can totally respect her and give her spotlight and all of those things. So this is amazing news. I'm very, very excited, and you should be too.
Wow, mic drop, Allie. That was great.
Thank you.
That was a lot. And for me, I mean, my reaction to the news, I put it on Twitter yesterday. My reaction to the news was big news for the unemployed. I don't care about it, but obviously you do, and that was a very compelling argument.
Thank you.
Are you saying that I need to look after Travis Kelce now to be successful? Is that where you're like, were you kind of going down that path?
No, I'm saying you should understand or maybe think about why he likes Taylor Swift if you have any angst against the situation.
Real quick, before Tyler's itching to say something too. I know he's a big Swiftie.
There's the eye roll.
Yeah. You're not a Swiftie? You don't like Taylor Swift?
No, I like 5 songs.
Okay, all right, hold on.
I can name them.
Wasn't it that he got on some podcast and said that he wanted to date her or something like that, and that's how it worked out?
So he went to her concert and he made a friendship bracelet for her that had his phone number on it, and he was going to try to give it to her. And there's a bunch of interviews dating back to a while of him saying that she's his celebrity crush, which is cute, but he couldn't actually get access to see her. it was in his stadium, so he thought that he had all the connections, but it's like super high security. And so he was saying that he was upset that she wouldn't see him, but she didn't even know he was trying to see her. But
Wow.
she saw that and reached out to him.
Wow. Very interesting.
Yes.
Tyler, what do you make of it?
First off, I want to say that I appreciate Travis Kelce as a football player. That's what I hope he is remembered as, not as Taylor Swift's husband, but as one of the greatest tight ends of all time. Second of all, I don't like Travis Kelce because I'm a Ravens fan. But my biggest question is it now going to be Taylor Kelce Swift?
Oh, no, they're both keeping their names. They're too big to not do that.
Now, so Travis Hunter of the Jaguars got married to his girlfriend, and they signed a prenup, which I didn't even know existed until he did it. I assume that Taylor Swift is probably going to make him sign that, right?
Oh, 100%.
What if is there an inkling of a thought that resides with Swifties to where they're like, all right, so this seems legit, but what if in 5 years they get divorced and Taylor doesn't release an album over the course of like 3 years, and then she just gets divorced, and then she drops like the greatest pop album of all time? like I feel like that would be a way bigger storyline than them actually getting married, because I don't care about who they marry. But I feel like if Taylor Swift drops like a massive diss album on Travis Kelce, I'll listen to that.
Well, we have 35 years of breakup music out
Right.
there, so I think that door is kind of closed and done.
All 11 boyfriends?
She's been doing music for 35 years?
Well, she's 35, so, you know.
Oh, okay.
But since she was like 12 or 13, she's been putting out music. Her first album was when she was like 13 years old.
Wow.
Was that the one with You Belong With Me?
No.
That was the second one.
Fearless?
I like the one about the Starbucks lovers. What's that song called?
I don't know.
Yeah, we don't need to
Starbucks
sing it.
lovers.
Yeah.
Oh,
here he goes singing again.
Like
Yeah.
the first time. Is it that one?
No, I think you just combined like 3 songs.
Maybe.
in one.
My favorite Taylor Swift song is Style. That's probably the only one that I kind of have in like a little summer playlist.
Blank Space. That's what it is.
Oh, yes.
Nice. I just have to say one last thing.
Okay.
I just think that there's such a negative connotation that comes with her in the sports world. I don't know if that's because of the Travis Kelce thing, or I'm assuming that kind of is where that started. But I just think that the two are not mutually exclusive and that she's doing nothing to hurt the sports community. And I think that you can like both. So
There we go. Allie weighs in on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce getting engaged. Congratulations, guys. That's going to wrap it up for a Wednesday edition of OT. We'll be back tomorrow to get you even more prepared for Tennessee and Syracuse and dive in. Oh, actually, hold on, time out. We're off tomorrow. We got our fantasy football draft here at the office. So we'll see you again Friday. I do apologize. We'll see you Friday to really get you ready for the Tennessee-Syracuse game and week 1 of college football. So until then, for Tyler Barbaras, Allie Campbell, I'm William Pattison. We'll see you next time.
S1.
Check them out.
FS1. And here's what you need to know.
The NFL has suspended Chiefs wide receiver Rashee Rice for the first 6 games of the regular season for violating the league's personal conduct policy. The Titans announced that their number 1 overall pick, rookie Cam Ward, is one of the 7 team captains this season. In baseball, Eugenio Suarez came in clutch for the Mariners.
Swung on, clocked, left field, Sheets is back, he's at the wall, it is gone! Into the Mariners bullpen, a 3-run home run, number 42 on the season, and the Mariners lead 4-0.
You just heard it on the Mariners radio network. They beat the Padres 4-3. Aaron Judge hit his 41st home run of the season as the Yankees defeated the Nationals 11-2. Right now, the Twins are up on the Blue Jays 3-1, bottom of the third inning. The Mets are on top of the Phillies 3-0, bottom of the fourth. I'm Monsi Bolaños.
One guy is happily divorced. One guy is happily married. One guy gets called daddy by his 3 beautiful daughters. One guy gets called daddy after a credit card approval. One guy won a state high school basketball championship. One guy only covered a state high school basketball championship. One guy does voiceovers for fast food chains. One guy only eats fast food. Does this seem weird to anybody else?
Hey, I heard that.
Can this sports writer and this sports fan share a radio show without driving each other crazy? Now, live from the Fox Sports Radio studios, here's Fox Sports Radio's Odd Couple with Rob G sitting in for Rob Parker. Here's Kelvin Washington.
That's right. You heard it. Rob G's in for Rob P. I'm Kelvin Washington. We are the Odd Couple. On this Worship Wednesday, where we have Michael Fabiano getting ready to join us in about 30 minutes or so, Sports Illustrated senior fantasy analyst.
He can tell you how bad of an idea it is to have a new fantasy league a week before the season starts.
Don't do me like that.
That's a terrible idea.
What's your point?
It's going to be like 3 people. It's going to be you and your daughter.
No, I'm going to find somebody. Listen, matter of fact, Miss Mary Mac, turn the music down right now. Let me see. Listen.